Hey there guys, welcome to Dinos Vault and welcome to my first ride review of the 2018 Bajaj Pulsar RS200, the racing red color variant. Yes, this is the new color variant that's been introduced for the 2018 model year. We still have the older color options on offer like the racing blue and the graphite black, both of which I've done separate videos for, and you can check them out by following the links mentioned in the description portion below. The Pulsar RS200 is the flagship Pulsar model currently available on sale, and it is also the fastest Pulsar ever. The RS200 won several hearts at the time of its very launch, coming across as the most powerful and the most feature-packed Pulsar ever, and it was also the first Pulsar to feature single-channel ABS with RLP or rear wheel lift-off protection. It was also the first ever fully fed Pulsar, and although the design was felt to be an overkill for some of them, I personally felt it looked quite attractive, and hotness obviously comes as standard when a bike draws its design inspiration from Italy's first electric superbike, the Energica Ego. Now, long story short, when the RS200 was first launched, it really looked like a complete embodiment of value for money, with the RC200 being priced way too higher and the R15 feeling as if it was coming of age. Therefore, the initial response for this bike was quite good. However, now things have changed drastically. We have the new R15 V3, which is as perfect as Roger Federer's backhand flick shot. We also have the Fazer 25, and we have Bajaj's very own Dominar 400 that offers maximum bang for your hard-earned buck. So this has resulted in a slight slump in its sales figures. So donning this new racing red avatar, does the RS200 have anything extra or new to offer with this 2018 model? Let's find out. Well, the only thing new about this 2018 model is this racing red color, which looks quite attractive, especially with the front wheel colored red and the rear wheel colored black. Everything else remains absolutely the same, and with the Pulsar 200 NS making a strong comeback, some of you might be interested to know the differences between the RS200 and the 200 NS, so let's go ahead with that now. First and the most obvious difference is the design. The 200 NS is a naked street fighter concept, while the RS200 is touted to be a super sport concept, although I'd rather call it a sport tourer. Secondly, these two bikes are quite different when it comes to power and torque figures as well. The 200 NS puts out a max power of 23.5 PS at 9,500 RPM and a max torque of 18.3 Newton meters at 8,000 RPM, whereas the RS200 puts out a max power of 24.5 PS at 9,750 RPM and a max torque of 18.6 Newton meters at 8000 RPM. So the RS puts out 1 PS of more power and 0.3 Newton meters of more torque compared to the NS. Also, please note that the peak power maxes out higher up in the RPM for the RS200, which results in offering better top-end performance compared to the 200 NS. Now, another major difference that you need to note for the increased power and performance of the RS200 is that it gets fuel injection, which the 200 NS misses out on. Please note that the fuel-injected 200 NS has not yet been launched in India, although it has been already launched in other countries like Turkey, etc. Now, both these bikes come with a 6-speed gearbox. Both of them get perimeter frames that lend the bike superb handling characteristics. Both the bikes get 4-valve engines with Bajaj's patented triple spark plug technology, which allows the engine to breathe easy at higher RPMs and also offers a perfect blend of performance and economy. Talking about the brakes, the RS200 gets a 300mm pedal disc up front and a 230mm pedal disc at the back, whereas the 200 NS standard dual disc variant gets a 280mm pedal disc up front, and the rear disc remains the same at 230mm for both the bikes. Please note here that only the ABS variant of the 200 NS gets a 300mm pedal disc, whereas the standard dual disc model gets a 280mm pedal disc up front. The suspension remains the same for both. We get telescopic forks with anti-friction bush up front and a gas-charged rear monoshock. I felt the suspension on the 200 NS to be a little more comfortable because the one on the RS feels a little stiffer for Indian road conditions. At higher speeds, both the suspension units offer good stability, and that is something to rejoice about. The tires are also identical for both. We get a 100/80 tire up front and a 130/70 tire at the back, and the tires are tubeless. Both the bikes do not get a Kickstarter, although the push button start works flawlessly, and just to be on the safer side, always keep an eye on your battery level and get it serviced at regular intervals to ensure it doesn't run out, leaving you stranded right in the middle of nowhere. Also, please note that we still have two variants on offer even for the RS200, just like the 200 NS. We have the RS200 non-ABS variant being priced at Rs 1,24,378 ex-showroom Hyderabad, and the ABS variant being priced at Rs 1,36,000 36,282. Dimensions wise, again, both the bikes are completely different from one another. Length of the RS200 is down by 18 mm compared to that of the 200NS. Width is down by 39 mm, but the overall height is up by 39 mm. The RS200 understandably gets a shorter wheelbase by 8 mm compared to that of the 200NS, which allows the RS to tackle the corners more easily. Ground clearance is 157 mm for the RS200 compared to 169 mm of the 200NS, both of which are more than sufficient to clear the speed breakers that we come across in the city. Talking about the weight advantage, the RS200 is obviously heavier than the 200NS by 10 kgs, which comes courtesy of the full fairing that the RS200 gets. The RS also gets a larger 13-litre tank compared to the 12-litre tank of the NS, although I personally hope that Bajaj tries and increases it to 16 litres for both the bikes, because that would give us a better tank range should we choose to go touring on these bikes. Also, we get super powerful dual projector headlamps for the RS200, which are undoubtedly best in and around its price range and offer superb light spread at night. We get a 55 watt low beam projector and a 65 watt high beam projector, which is as good as it can get. Now, talking about the engine specs, powering the RS200 is a 4-stroke, 4-valve, single-cylinder, liquid-cooled, fuel-injected 199.5cc triple spark engine that puts out 24.5 PS of max power at 9,750 RPM and 18.6 Newton meters of max torque at 8,000 RPM, and this comes mated to a 6-speed gearbox. Now, I was very much impressed with the RS200 the first time I reviewed it back in 2015. Be it the power, the performance, the torque, the refinement, everything was spot on back then, and nothing much changes now. The bike offers a nice and sporty power delivery with steady and consistent acceleration all across the rev band without the engine feeling strained thanks to the 4-valve engine. The initial pickup is good enough to keep you interested. The mid-range is quite smooth and linear, allowing you to cruise at around 90 to 100 km per hour effortlessly, but the real icing on the cake is the top-end performance, which almost kind of surprises you. It's fast and furious, carrying the DNA of a supersport machine right to the very core. Now, that being said, the seating posture isn't all that aggressive. It is intermediate from being too much leaned forward or being completely upright. The clip-on handlebars are ideally positioned, and so are the rider foot pegs that ensure that you can ride in a relaxed posture while cruising on the highways, and at the same time you can tuck yourself in behind the well laid out windshield and shoot through the straights on the track. The clutch feel is nice and light, the throttle response is quite immediate without any latency, and the throttle action is light and easy without straining your palms or wrists. The only thing that I wish was slightly better is the seat cushioning. The seat feels a little hard to my personal taste. Apart from this, everything else is absolutely spot on. The perimeter frame lends the bike superb handling characteristics. Now, this is further aided by the box section swing arm and gas-charged rear monoshock that lend the bike superb stability at higher speeds. The suspension is well tuned, although it is slightly on the stiffer side to allow the bike to perform well while on track circuits. The brakes are again good enough. Thanks to the single channel ABS, the feedback from the front brake is quite reassuring. Please note that the ABS is operational only on the front wheel because the bike gets only single channel ABS, and for those wondering about sensors being present on the rear wheel, that is because of the RLP feature or rear wheel lift-off protection feature, which ensures the rear wheel doesn't lift off even under harsh braking scenarios. Now, coming to my final verdict, you might ask or wonder with the Dominar 400 in the picture as to whether to even look at the RS200 as an option, considering the insane value that the Dominar packs in with what it has on offer. Well, I would say first of all, these are two different motorcycles completely falling into two separate segments. The Dominar is a power cruiser that can be labeled as a hardcore tourer. Of course, it is a bike that you can live with on a day-to-day basis, but one thing that the Dominar cannot do and which the RS200 can is enjoying or slicing through the corners on a track circuit. The RS200 is meant for those who would want a bike to use for their daily commutes. At the same time, they can use this bike to tag along with their friends for weekend getaways and also get a taste of supersport culture while attending those refreshing track days on a cold Sunday morning. Now, this is what makes the RS200 still special. Even when we look at the competition, the RC200 is priced way too higher, so the RS, almost putting out the same power, is more comfortable and also gets the additional safety of of ABS, which the RC misses out on. Compared to the R15 V3 and the Fazer 25, the RS puts out significantly more power, it gets larger disc brakes, and also gets optional ABS, which gives it a clear edge over its competition. So the RS200 still remains a pretty good proposition for what it has on offer. So I guess that concludes my review of the RS200 2018 model. I just hope you found this video useful. Until next time, this is Dino saying ciao. Take care, God bless, and ride safe.